Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Global Entrepreneur. Today I'm going to be talking about what is it like to double major in aerospace engineering and economics. A lot of people have asked me why did I choose to pursue this double major, and the main reason is that I wasn't very sure whether I wanted to do um, engineering or if I wanted to pursue business. I've always wanted to learn how to create companies and work on building businesses, but I've also always liked technology very much, especially aerospace technology, and so I thought it would be a good idea to shoot a video showing you sort of my path through college, which classes I took, and why I chose to take those classes. Um, So, without much further ado, I'm just gonna start showing you my transcript. But before I do that, just let me mention one more thing. The main advantage of double majoring in aerospace engineering and economics is that you will be able to not only understand the technical side behind engineering, but you will also understand the economic side, so the business side of decision making. So it's very simple. Whenever you're building a plane, or let's say a rocket or a satellite, you're going to need to use resources to do that, right? And the great thing about economics is that it gives you a framework to understand how to better allocate resources to successfully complete a mission. There's also a lot of overlap since a lot of the regression techniques that you will learn in economics, all of the statistics, all of the utility principles, sort of how to analyze trends, how to analyze the economic background of the industry, will really help you in complementing your engineering major. It doesn't have to be aerospace; it can be mechanical, civil, nuclear. I just feel like this particular combination of an engineering plus an economics degree is very, very powerful. Now, obviously, the the challenge is that it's going to be a lot harder because doing a double major is definitely very challenging. You're going to have to take a lot more classes because you're doing two majors instead of one, and that means that you're gonna have to dedicate a lot of time to school. So if you would rather prefer like partying while you're in college or hanging out with friends all the time, then maybe doing a double major is not a great idea. You're definitely gonna spend several hours at the library every single day, but I think at the end of the day, it's very very rewarding. And the other great thing is that it really gives you a huge opportunity when it comes to finding jobs because you're not only limited to engineering. You can also move into consulting since now you have both the business and technical tools, so you can help clients understand their needs in the technology sector, and so it will probably be in very high demand. You can also go into academia, touching upon many new different fields of research since you're going to be mixing two things together. And there's not a lot of people who do that, so you could sort of research about, I don't know, cost analysis of space missions, right? Something that not a lot of people do. So you can create your new field of research. You could also get into any of the conventional, data analysis, major, sorry, not majors, but careers, because you'll have enough tools to analyze data like crazy because you're going to have those two analytical majors that will really serve you in understanding data. What else? You could go into banking. You can go into the financial sector, private equity. So you have a lot of chances. Once you combine these two majors, you can basically do anything. Not to mention that you can obviously work in engineering or technical companies, or like space companies, aeronautical companies, or if you're doing any other engineering, then you can work in that specific industry. So really, the sky's the limit when it comes to using these two majors to find job opportunities. Okay, so I'm going to show you my academic transcript. I'm going to go semester by semester, just showing you what I did. Um, so just so you guys know, as a recap, about 5 months ago, I graduated from Purdue University with a double major in aeronautical and astronautical engineering, as well as economics, with a major concentration in international business. And doing this double major helped me create my own startup company in school, which I talk about in previous videos. So if you want to know more about that, check out my other videos. Okay, so as you can see, I got my degree awarded on December the 14th, 2019. And so I'm going to first start by talking about the whole transcript. So this one's actually a bit hard to read. I just don't like their format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another transcript that's easier to read, but it's basically the same thing. This is just the unofficial version of my transcript, right? But as you can see, it's the same thing. So Purdue University, my degrees and stuff, but this is just a lot easier to read. So this is how I would check my grades in my university transcript. This is the unofficial one. So every time I wanted to know what I got in the class, I would just get in here. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to start from the beginning. Here's my my transfer credit, which I transferred Spanish credits from the AP Spanish exam I took in high school. During my last 2 years of high school, I went to an American high school abroad, and so I was able to take AP exams. I took 5 exams, but I only counted the credits of Spanish because I wasn't sure how the U.S. college system would work once I moved into the U.S., and so I wanted to repeat classes such as calculus, computer science, just because I wasn't very confident about my knowledge or the knowledge I acquired in my AP classes. So I only transferred Spanish up to the Spanish level 4 because that's as much as the university can count, even though I'm native in Spanish. But I just wanted to get the general electives out of the way. So if you guys have questions about how to transfer credit toward your degree when you're applying to a U.S. college, you can just write me a comment in the comment section, and I'll answer you how you can do that. So you can basically complete your first year of college just by taking AP exams in high school. You can take calculus 1 and 2, you can take chemistry, physics, Spanish, English, and let's say you take 2 other classes. So you start taking AP exams when you're a sophomore in high school. You can count, let's say, 8 classes, and that's about 2 semesters of college. So that will really save you a lot of money and time. And even if you don't want to transfer those credits, then it will give you a huge advantage when it comes to taking these classes in college. You'll have already seen the material. You're definitely going to ace those classes. And if not, then it's okay. But yeah, definitely taking AP exams is very helpful. Okay. So this is my first semester. I had general chemistry. I got an A. Basically, you see very basic chemistry stuff like atoms, bonds, molecular forces. It's kind of like a high school class. It's definitely not hard. Then I had academic career and planning. So funny story is that when I got into college, I actually didn't get into engineering. I got into exploratory studies. So this is an option available at Purdue University, and I don't know about other schools, but Purdue offers this option where you can just choose exploratory studies as your major, and then you're gonna have to take this class called academic career and planning, where you're gonna do psychological tests, and the professor is gonna analyze your profile, and then you're gonna find what's your most suitable major. Because one big thing in the U.S. is that a lot of people switch majors all the time, and this is very, very common. I think I don't know the statistics by heart, but 80%, somewhere around 80% or 70% of the people have switched majors in college, And so, everyone takes classes, they don't like it or they regret it and they just do something else. So, the great thing about doing exploratory studies is that it lets you save time by kind of like planning out what is it that you want to do and really exploring how that works. In my case, basically every single class we would have an assessment and we would find what was the common ground between our interest and other majors available. And so I determined that aerospace was something I was really interested in at that time because I wasn't considering economics when I first got into school. And so, once I took this class, I found my major and it was cool because I got to talk to a lot of people that or who have worked in the aerospace industry and were in charge of space missions in NASA. And by talking to them, I got really inspired, and then decided to pursue aerospace because I knew it was the right fit for me. But it took me a semester to finally decide that that was the major I wanted to do, and I don't regret my decision. I really liked it, but yeah, definitely this class was very helpful. So I also took English. So first year composition, I got an A, so pretty good grade. Here I got an A plus in economic career and planning. I really like that class too. Then I got credits for French level 1 and 2 because I had taken French in high school. At that time, I didn't really remember my French really well, but I just transferred that because then I thought, if I had the chance, I would take I would take French classes to learn how to speak French in college. I'm really interested in languages, and so I did that. And I also took Calculus 1, which I got a B. It's not bad. That was kind of like first semester. So introductory calculus, English, chemical career and planning, and introductory chemistry. So a very simple semester, just 4 classes. I did really well. Not hard at all. It was a very cool semester. So after that, if we go down here, this was my, let's see, oops, sorry. Okay, there we go. So this is my second semester, okay? Basically, as you can see here, I took communications, so fundamentals of speech and public speaking. So here's something that really pisses me off. I got a B in this class, and that stands for bullshit. You know why? Because I'm actually a really good public speaker, but what happened was we were in this class. I had a team, and we were working on a final project, and then the person in charge of submitting the final assignment didn't do that, and so we got a lot of points knocked off. And instead of getting an A, I got a B, which at the time I really cared about my grades and my GPA, and so I got very pissed. But now, I don't care. Whatever. I'm just glad that I'm good at public speaking, and that really didn't change anything. Okay, so then I also took. So by the way, here I switched from exploratory studies to first year engineering. In first year engineering, you take like common courses to engineering, so then you can transfer into your desired field or area of engineering. And so I was doing first year engineering, and so I took communications. I took Transforming Ideas to Innovation 1. So this was an introductory class. Basically, we would just like work with on teams and just so we would have a team and we would work on like engineering problems that were very simple, kind of like calculating a reservoir, like brainstorming. This was just more like working with teams on engineering problems. So yeah, it was very basic, but definitely that was very time consuming for just being 2 credits. So 2 credits is kind of like the amount of hours you do per week for that class, sort of. Um, so just keep that in mind. Some classes require a lot more dedication. Like if you have 5 credits, then you're going to be going to class like 5 times a week, I think. So every day. It works something like it's something similar to that. It really depends on the class. But yeah, but you get the idea. All right, so I also took French level 3, so 201. This was kind of like also a very basic French, but I wanted to learn French. It was definitely a useful class. I liked the way that Purdue taught languages, so I thought it would be a good idea to keep on learning French. I also took Calculus 2, so plane analytic geometry and Calculus 2, got a B minus, not bad. And then I took Physics 172, so modern mechanics, introductory physics, which I got a B. Okay, cool. All right, then after that, I stayed during the summer, during that first summer, so that I would complete the classes I needed to get into engineering. And so, I took graphical communications and spatial analysis. I got an A. That was like computer design. Then I took computer science, for which I got a B plus. That was programming applications for engineers, so introductory computer science. And I took transforming ideas to innovation 2, which I got an A. That was also kind of like a programming class in MATLAB. And we also had to work with a team. Okay, so now I was officially into the aerospace program. I got into the aeronautical and astronautical engineering program, and so this was my first semester in aerospace, or my first semester of my sophomore year in school. So I took aeromechanics 1, which I got a C. I really hated this class. This was basically how bodies move in space and how to have like frame of references. I'm really bad at that. So I didn't do too well in this class, but in any case, I passed with a decent enough grade. I also took French 202, so this is French level 4. I got an A. I took multivariate calculus, so calculus 3, got a B. Took linear algebra, got a B minus. So these are just math classes. And then I took physics 241, for which I got a B plus, so not bad at all. So yeah, I mean this semester was definitely very challenging. Like the level of difficulty was higher. It was a lot harder. This was the most insane semester I think I've ever had. To be honest, just look at the amount of classes that I had to take. So yeah, I mean, this was so challenging. So first I had to take a sophomore seminar, which was like once a week, and then we would take it was kind of like a lecture on trends in the aerospace industry, and we would have different sort of activities related to our majors. I don't really remember that well, to be honest, but in any case, it was something required that they didn't even give you credits. We would have to write like a short essay about like our major and what we liked about it, stuff like that. Okay, then I also took aeromechanics 2. I got a C plus. This was kind of like mechanics of materials. It was a really easy class if I look back. It's just that I didn't do very well because because of the crazy workload that I was doing. I had the aeromechanics 2 lab, so this was just a lab where we would like study flow and stuff. I took introduction to aerospace design. This was a really challenging class. At that time, it's crazy because I had a really good professor who made me enjoy this class a lot. And basically, we had to work in a project where we would have to sort of design an aircraft and design a rocket, so we would have to launch cargo into space, and then the rocket would be reusable, so it would come back to Earth, and then the plane would have to catch the rocket in the air and then land to successfully complete the mission. And if you don't believe me, let me show you. What I'm talking about. So E251. Okay, so here it is, final project. This is such a long time ago. What is this? Okay, no, this is not it. Final report. Yeah, this is it. Hold on. So just look at this report, right? Okay, so this was just a rough draft, I think. Yeah, so this is not the final document. Let me see, where is it at? Final project. Oh. Okay, if you give me a second, I swear to God, I'm gonna find it. Okay, let's do this. I'll show you the PowerPoint. It's kind of like a summarized version of what we did. So we created this thing called Rocket Aircraft Retrieval System. basically, we had some like mission parameters. Here we show how we designed the rocket. Basically this was our design, and then we would have a propulsion system. Here's all the math, the algorithm development, the mass values, the velocities, the plane change maneuvers, the orbital stuff, where we were going to capture the rocket, um, the cost analysis behind everything, the market comparison. So it was kind of like a full aircraft rocket proposal. See, like, and these are the references and the integration of both systems. So 37 slides. This was like a 20-30 page report. So for being a sophomore year class, it was nearly impossible. I know that at Purdue now this class is a lot easier and everyone gets a very high grade, but at that time it was really hard. The problem was that I was working with a team that was missing one team member, so it was a lot more work that we had to do, and that was just completely unfair, I feel. But anyway, despite the grade, I just really liked that class. Okay, so we also took, so I also took business French. Now I was trying to minor in business French, and this was a class I very much enjoyed. It was about how to understand the French business environment and the culture when it comes to doing business in French. This was a really an amazing class, and it was kind of like my first introduction to business culture, and it was I really enjoyed it. And now now that I had done so much French, I decided that I was going to pursue a minor in business French, and so I started taking these classes. So now I also took ordinary differential equations. So this was that was math. Got a B, not bad. And then I also took thermodynamics 1, for which I got a C minus. And I'm gonna be entirely honest, I had no idea how I passed that class because I hadn't really studied too much. I basically went to the final exam after studying for like 3 hours, like studying the entire class in just 3 hours. I managed to get a good grade in the final, and so I passed. But I had failed all of my midterms, and so yeah, I mean that was it. But it was just it was too much coursework, and I would not recommend doing taking so many classes together. That was insane. Okay, then during the second summer, I did an internship at Bombardier Aerospace. So yeah, this is just a professional practice internship. I also took microeconomics online. So this time during this summer, I looked into the economics program because after doing a second year in engineering, I realized that I really wanted to learn a lot more about business and not just engineering. And so I thought about double majoring. And when I looked at the program, basically, if I took aerospace and I chose the right classes, I could basically count 80% of my aerospace degree towards my econ degree. And so I would just have to take a few economics classes to successfully graduate with both majors in a little bit over 4 years. And so I took microeconomics. It was really hard to do the class. The class was really easy, right? It was not hard at all. But what was hard was taking this class while I was doing my internship because I was working like crazy, and I was really tired, and I was also kind of like tired from school, so I wasn't feeling very motivated. But still managed to take that class, and that really counted towards the rest. Okay, so this is the first year of my senior. Sorry, first. Is that second? Yeah. So first semester of my junior year, right? This is my third year of studies. So here I took junior seminars as your credits. That was just again similar to the sophomore seminar, just a class we would have once per week, I think, where lecturers would come in and talk about the aerospace industry. We had I also had 301, which was signal analysis for aerospace engineering. I liked this class. It was very like heavy on math. Got a B. I took fluid mechanics. Didn't really like this class. I understood it, but no. I didn't really understand it very well at that time. I don't know. The weird thing is that something clicked for me during this semester. So like after this semester, I started understanding math and engineering a lot better. But by that time, I had to study really hard and just like pass these classes. But I didn't get awesome grades because I didn't really understand the engineering part behind it very well. I took fluid mechanics lab, got an A, so I liked the lab. It was a lot more practical, so it made sense. I took microeconomics, got an A. It's my, I love microeconomics, so obviously I was going to get an A. Took business French, got an A. Took calculus, sorry, the last math class, which was differential equations uh, for the engineering, nonlinear differential equations for the engineering and sciences. So I took this class, didn't really like it, but just passed it. Okay, so then after that, my next semester, um, I had, so this was my last semester of the junior year. I took structural analysis one. I hated this class with my life. Basically, it was just kind of like a civil engineering class where you would calculate the structures of like planes and like like rivets and bolts and joints and stuff like that. It was so boring, but I just managed to pass. I also had control system analysis. This class, I I like that class, but for some reason I just didn't do well. Maybe it was because of the workload that I had during that semester. But in any case, that was a cool class. That was just like math to understand how to control the system, how it moves, right? So how it oscillates. Let's say if you have a door, whether the door is just gonna shut, or if it's gonna like instead of shutting, like how is it gonna shut? It's gonna go like very fast and shut. Is it gonna like hit the wall and come back, or is it gonna like oscillate until it's shut, right? So you have like different math to analyze that, and different systems behave differently, and so again, I think didn't really grasp that class very well, just because I understood the idea, but I just didn't get the math or the engineering behind it very well. So again, engineering didn't really click for me. Like, okay, so I was like doing fairly well. Like I was getting A's, B's, and C's, right? But in the hardcore engineering classes, I was getting C's, just because I don't know. It didn't click at that time. I was, and that was kind of hard, and that's the reason why I wanted to switch to economics. As you can see, it's I was struggling every semester because I was thinking, oh man, I'm studying so hard. Well, I mean, obviously, aerospace engineering is rocket science, right? So it's definitely not easy. I can guarantee you that. The workload was so insane that that's one of the reasons why studying and doing well in these classes is definitely challenging, even if you're smart and even if you put in a lot of work. But the but yeah, it just didn't click for me until I was like really into more advanced. But to compensate for this two C's, I took other classes. So an introductory like CS 101 computer science class that I had to take as a technical elective. Obviously got an A. I took an introduction to organizational computing, so another computer science class. This was like very heavy on Excel. Got an A. I took business writing, got an A, and I took business French. I also got an A. So overall, kind of like I balanced my GPA because I took those classes. So this was kind of a smart thing to do. Take two hard engineering classes and then compensate with other easy electives so that you balance how much work you're doing. So then after that, I did, so during the third summer, I took more classes just so that, so yeah, I mean, you can take summer classes so that you can take off workload from your semesters. In this case, I was doing a double major, so my idea was to do online classes during the summer so that I could count my economics degree, so I could count more classes toward my economics degree, and then I wouldn't have to stay for longer in school. So during this summer, I took intermediate microeconomic theory. Didn't really like this class. Got a C. Also, at this time, I was really tired. Like school had been very painful all the way up to here, but I still managed to do okay in the summer, even though I just wanted to rest. I took intermediate microeconomics, got an A minus. This was one of my favorite classes ever. Really taught me how to think like an economist. And then I took industrial organization, which was like analyzing different industries in the economy, and got to be so not bad. In any case, if you look at GPA, like 2.9, yeah, it's not great, but, like these grades are not bad. Okay. So then the following semester, after that summer, by the way, this is a semester GPA. So what I got from these three classes, my overall GPA here was 3.17. Okay, so then I had, and just by the way, so that you guys know, the reason why, or one of the reasons why I also didn't get A's in everything 4.0, not that I care that I'm justifying myself, is because usually people just take 4 classes in school per semester. So it's very easy to handle the workload and just the time you have to study for things. But when you add more classes, such as I did in my case, to do a double major, right now you have 6 instead of 4 per semester, and that means you're gonna have a lot less time to study for everything, and it just accumulates and it gets exponentially harder. So your time management is gonna have to be very good if you want to be successful, and you're gonna go through a lot of stress. But in any case, I took aerodynamics and dynamics of vibrations, 2 core aerospace engineering classes. I got C's for both. Again, engineering didn't really click for me at that point. But now here's where things get interesting, right? Uh, I took these 2 classes, and all the way up to here in my aerospace degree, I was already well into my aerospace program, and I wasn't sure if I really liked the major or not. I was still struggling. Like, is this something I really like? And the reason is because you have to take all of the core classes before you start getting into the very interesting topics. So I didn't do very well. I mean, I did okay, but I passed, but I didn't do great in the core classes, and it was because I wasn't really fully motivated to study. And as you can see, I would get A's and B's in all other classes. Like I would do, like really well in everything else, but in my core aerospace classes, I was just not excelling at them. And so here I took aerospace systems design. In this class, I got a B minus. I really, 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 really liked this class, which was how to design aerospace systems, basically how to calculate cost, reliability, and it was a lot of probability. Very cool class. I took control systems laboratory. I got an A. So this was the practical application of the class in which I got a C. But here it started clicking to me, like how this worked. I got so I did this senior seminar, and I also took statistics, for which you got a B. Okay. So by the way, I first started college with a 3.7 GPA, and that was this, I think, getting to the lowest here, which was a 3.1. Well into my junior year. Okay, so then during that summer, the next summer, so by the way, I didn't rest during any summers. I had to take classes throughout every single one of them. But here, during this summer, I took health economics, got an A minus. I took law and economics, got a C. I didn't have okay, let's put it this way. My family was moving from one country to the other, and I had a lot of personal problems at that time, so I didn't have too much time to study, but still managed to sit down and hit the books. And I didn't like this class, and I was doing really bad in the midterms, but then I aced the final and got a C. This was basically how to understand the law, understand how law affects the economy. I mean, that's kind of like a redundant statement, but essentially, like if the Congress passes a law, let's say regulating airports, how is the supply and demand going to shift? Like, how is that going to change for the aerospace industry, right? So stuff like that. So it's kind of like a class for you to become better at like public and private policy. Okay, so I also took modern weapons, international relationships. Got to be. Oh, okay. No, I remember now. By the way, when I was taking these classes as well, I was building the startup. This was the summer, I think, where I built the prototype, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that's right. So during this summer, by the way, during this semester, I started working on the startup because I started in September, and so I was already starting to build my business. And so, I was putting in a lot of time going to meetings and meeting with the team. So I was spending some time outside of school to build a startup. This was a very startup intensive semester. And then during the summer, I stayed at school. I did a fellowship while taking 3 classes at university. And while doing this fellowship, I was also doing business with airlines and building the prototype for the product that I was designing. And I had a team of 10 people working with me. And we were kind of like doing engineering, design, development. So not only I was taking 3 classes, I was working on my own startup full time, and I was also doing a fellowship at the university. So I was working full time as a fellow for the university uh, to build a startup. Basically, they helped us build our product. Okay. So yeah. So very heavy, heavy summer. Lots of work. I wouldn't stop grinding during that summer. And here was my minimum lowest kind of like GPA, right? So then this was my final year, and I just want to mention something. For some crazy weird reason, wait, where's my propulsion? I don't think I mentioned that. Okay, sorry, I accidentally skipped the semester. That's why. Um, Oops, my bad. Okay, hold on, give me a second. All right, wait. So sorry. Before the summer, I skipped the semester. This was my first. Um, this was my first semester. My first semester in my senior year. I'm sorry, guys, if I confused you. So during this semester, I took aerodynamics lab, got an A plus. I took the aerospace propulsion class. Now, even though I got a C, I just want to mention something. Engineering really clicked for me at this point. I was doing really well. I was getting full marks on the homeworks. My exams were okay, but it was just such a hard class that I didn't get a good grade. But compared to other classes from the past, like I know that this time I really understood engineering. It was just that I was not. It clicked for me after this point. Engineering just clicked. I understood it. This class, I didn't really like it. That's why I didn't get a good grade. And sorry, this was the semester where I was also working on the startup, and just really grinding. And I was like going to competitions. But I started in the previous semester that I showed you, and then this was the semester where I had a lot of business meetings and competitions, and I was traveling everywhere. So things got kind of insane, and I would just look at how many classes I was taking, right? Um, so yeah, I forget about this class, but for example, here design theories and methods, I got an A. This was kind of like the my design concentration in aerospace, where we would look at different systems and we would brainstorm and create kind of like new designs for aircraft and spacecraft, and we would also use like design tools to analyze risk and complexity of aerospace systems. So I absolutely love this class. I was very good at it. Got an A. This is more of a systems engineering class. I took econometrics. I got a B. No, not bad considering I didn't really study much for that class. I didn't have too much time. And then I also took practical systems thinking. So this was a systems engineering class. I aced it. I really like systems engineering. I'm really good at that. And so this semester, um, yeah, this was a tough semester. A lot of classes, but somehow managed to do okay. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, after that, this was the very intense summer I talked to you about. So I didn't do great because I was doing a lot of work for the startup. And then here, this was my last semester in university, right? So here I took spacecraft design. I got an A. Absolutely love that class. I was in charge of the business part and the cost analysis of a satellite mission to the moon, and that was my senior design project. Just did really well. Then I also had introduction to satellite navigation and positioning. This was a very tough class. Got a B plus, so very good. Again, engineering had clicked for me at that point. Math wasn't hard at all. I understood equations. I understood how to do everything. So at the very end of my engineering degree, I finally understood it. like really, really well. And so, as you can see, I also took other classes like international trade, money and banking. I got B's in those two, and then I took management class, and I got an A minus. So this was like a uh, business focused semester. I This was definitely my favorite semester, and I got a 3.4. So really good compared to other semesters where I've gotten 2.9, right? GPA out of 4 points. Um, so in conclusion, as you can see, I mean, basically, I took a lot of classes, right? I had to work very hard, and just getting the double major was a very heavy workload, especially because I graduated in 4.5 years. So I had to like take classes every single summer. I started school really strongly. I started getting A's and B's everywhere, as you can see, and then it gradually started going down as my motivation dropped because I wasn't sure if I liked engineering. I was getting C's in my core classes, so that kind of frustrated me, even though I was putting in a lot of work. It was too much workload. I was not enjoying it until finally, between my junior and senior years, so my last 2 years of studies, I started understanding engineering better. It just clicked for me. And then after that, um, basically I just started getting good grades, even though I was like building a business in college. So that was kind of like the insane thing, doing two majors, aerospace engineering and economics, while building a successful startup and winning international competitions all around the United States, all across the United States, was very challenging. But yeah, I mean, everyone has kind of like a different path through college, right? I just want you guys to know that I'm also a very social person. So while I was doing all of this, I was also doing other stuff. I was not only I was not only studying for my classes. I was also hanging out with friends. I was going out sometimes and partying. I was, dating people. I was working out. I basically like lost 40 pounds while I was in college. Uh, Somewhere around 40 pounds. So that was, or like, yeah, like 18 kilograms. So, I got in a very good physical condition, and I got in shape, which was very good. I was also reading a lot of books. I would read a lot of books. I learned how to play the piano while I was in college on my own. I taught myself how to do that. I What else? I taught myself how to speak Italian. So I was doing a bunch of other things that outside from school, which obviously are not reflected here. But if you just take the whole thing, I prefer to have a good GPA, so somewhere above a 3.0, but obviously wanting to do many other things and explore many other interests in linguistics, in music, in business, in reading books. So I think looking back, I really seized my opportunity to study in the United States and just be able to pursue this double major. Um, it's unfortunate that I can't really show you how much doing this double major helped me in building my first startup. But as you can see, it was a business related to the aeronautical industry. So I used my tools I had learned in economics to calculate, returns and create Excel spreadsheets and all the business numbers. And I also was able to use my knowledge I had from engineering to build a new product, design it, understand how to do it, understand how to create software. So knowledge is power. Basically, what I think I did really well was not just getting A's, because that's worth nothing if you get A's in everything. What I did was applying my knowledge, or the knowledge I had gained in school, towards building a business. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you guys have your own stories in college, or if there's any cool classes that you've taken before and you'd like to show me, and to tell me more about how was your experience, and how, if you switched majors before, how did that feel? If you added a second major, how was that experience? In my case, I absolutely don't regret it. I feel it was like the best decision I've ever made, and I highly encourage everyone to consider doing this double major in aerospace engineering and economics. And okay, I think I really said everything I have to say. This has been a very long video, um, but hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you have any questions about any of these semesters, or if you would like to know more about a specific class, please let me know, and I'll explain to you everything you want to know. I would like to get very detailed about everything, but for time's sake, I can't really um, get to the nitty gritty of the classes that I took. But I think hopefully you get an idea, and just how people, like motivation really affects how your performance and how you can choose different classes and how you can create your own path. So I feel like it's very good to look at other people's examples, or if you have friends, you can ask. So if you're going to go into college or even a master's degree or PhD, and if you have friends who've done that before, talk to them and ask them to show you their plan of studies, and to kind of like walk you through what is it that they've done before, because that will really give you a much better and practical perspective on what college looks like, instead of just looking at the program website and just saying, okay, I'm just going to do this without knowing what it is that you're actually going to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please like or comment if you liked it, and if you can, I would like you to comment which was the favorite class you've taken in university so far. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.